Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Leslie with the New Mexico Small Business Development Center, and I'm proud to introduce Eric Spellman, public speaker. Boy, I tell you, this is an exciting one, and he's going to have some all kinds of stuff to show us and teach us. I want to remind everyone during the entire presentation, don't be shy, type those questions into the Q&A. Eric, the last couple webinars that you've done for us, boy, the questions just kept coming and coming and coming. So I think that's going to be the same today. We have a lot of people that have signed up for this. So let's learn all about TikTok marketing for beginners.
Okay, thank you, Leslie. And yes, we're going to dive right into this. And folks, oh my gosh, do I have so much content for you. Now, once again, don't feel like you have to write everything down you see on my screen. And that's because my wonderful host will have this entire presentation for you to download. And so just to have and to print out and whatever you want. Okay, so the notes I want you to take are going to be on how it may apply to you. Okay, so when you're listening, write down some little thoughts on how it may benefit your business. And I'll be honest, I mean, between me and you, I don't work for TikTok. I'm not going to try to sell you on TikTok. I'm going to give you an objective view of TikTok. And some of you at the end of this may suddenly realize that TikTok is not for your business. And that's okay. At least now you'll have an objective reason the next time some 12-year-old says, oh, you ought to be on TikTok. Okay, so listen up, because for some of you, TikTok is going to make you a bunch of money. So first, we got to talk about what is TikTok. I mean, some of you are turning this on and going, well, I've heard of it. I think it has to do with videos, or my son or my grandson, you know, uses it all the time. They're always on it. That's all you know. So let me just give you the ground zero definition. Yeah, that's right. This is ground zero. I don't assume you know anything about TikTok. And I will be checking in on the chats. So when I see something appear down there, you may see me reach down and take a look at that. That's okay. Here we go. What is TikTok? Basically, you create short 3-minute videos, okay? At the most 3 minutes. Now, up until July, they were 1-minute videos. TikTok was all about creating 1-minute videos. It's kind of like YouTube, except YouTube allows for practically unlimited size videos. Whereas this is really short. And like I said, up until July, the maximum length of a video that you could create was 1 minute, 60 seconds. But now you can take up to 3 minutes. But I'll be honest, shorter is better. Shorter is better, shorter is better. And you'll understand why in just a minute. The app itself, and yes, it is an app, has been downloaded over 2.8 billion times total and going up. It is an extremely, extremely popular app. It currently has over 689 million active users. These are people who are using it every day. You know, a lot of those 2.8 billion downloads, those might have been by people checking it out and then maybe aren't using it actively. They may have it, but they're not using it actively. But to be honest, 689 million out of 2.8 billion is an amazing number. Because trust me, a lot of people have downloaded Facebook. A lot of people have downloaded other apps like Instagram, and yet the number of active users is not near as high. So TikTok is huge, and it should not be ignored. I'm here to tell you, it is definitely something you should pay attention to. Speaking of being paid attention to, there are some geopolitical ramifications. Now, TikTok started overseas, started in China. Ironically, you can't use it in China. They have their own version of TikTok over there, but it started in China. And the country that it's used the most in, even above the United States, is India and Pakistan and a bunch of other countries. And the United States is growing very, 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 very quickly. But a lot of y'all may remember that when TikTok first came out, there was some controversy about it because it was a Chinese businessman owned firm. Now they were kind of bought into by a London, England firm. Okay. And they kind of moved, so to speak. The owner is still a Chinese businessman, but it's run out of London, England now. And so that's kind of where they're claiming their headquarters are from. But at one point, the United States and our government was a little nervous about, this data being collected and where it was going. And so a lot of people got a little nervous about that. Now, has it really slowed things down? No. After that brief little, oh, who are these TikTok people? Where are they from? What are their motives? Little issue. It's kind of picked up again and it's taking off. And I don't see it slowing anytime soon. I guarantee that the United States and our CIA, FBI, whoever has looked into it. And if there were any concerns, they would probably have reported it and there would probably be bigger warnings that are out there. So I really wouldn't worry it too much. And some of you who think the Chinese are after your stuff, get a hold of yourself. They don't care about you. Okay. And I'm not here defending it. I'm just saying sometimes we tend to think that in the scheme of things, we're more important than we are to foreign countries. And I guarantee you are not. So when you see your kids, your grandkids using TikTok, I guarantee it's strictly basically for entertainment or education. We'll talk more about that as well. But you got to understand that demographic, because really this is where you're going to make the decision on whether you use TikTok, okay? On whether you use it. Now remember, we're talking about using it for your business. I'm not going to teach you how to use TikTok just for fun. You can do that on your own. It's not that difficult. Download it, and chances are the younger you are, the more addicted you'll get to it. Not an addiction in a bad way, unless you take it too far. But I'll be honest, it is a lot of fun. And I'm 53 years old. So let's talk about the demographic, the main users who are into TikTok. 41% of all users, and it's the largest group that's out there, are between the ages of 16 and 24. That's right. It is a young group. 21% of the users are between like 9 and 16. It's crazy. The younger you go, the more into TikTok that they are. But that is changing. We are seeing these demographics growing. In fact, they say that 50% of the users of TikTok are under 34. But once again, that 34 number is starting to get stretched. And it's going to go up. It's going to go up. The way to think about it, and the way I like to explain it, is kind of like how Facebook, when Facebook first started out, it was all kids. It was all kids all the time. Parents didn't even know what Facebook was, right? And so kids were on Facebook. They were connecting to their friends left and right. And then all of a sudden, mom and dad decided, oh, we're going to monitor our kids on Facebook because we don't know what they're talking about. So they did, and they friended their kids. And what happened? The age on Facebook went up. And then all of a sudden, mom and dad got addicted to Facebook. But their kids were like, heck, I can't talk about anything with my friends anymore because my mom and dad are my friends now. So they left and went to Instagram. So Instagram became the place of all the young people. And it was going great. And all these young people left Facebook, and Facebook's age went up. And so Facebook saw that happen. So what'd they do? They went and bought, that's right, Instagram. The thing about it is, Instagram's getting older as well. And so a lot of these users are moving from Instagram into Snapchat and TikTok. You see, it's kind of like a migration. And parents follow their kids. It just takes longer. And so right now, TikTok is dominated by kids. It is dominated by the Gen X, not Gen X, by the Gen Zs and the younger millennials. Okay. So when I'm talking about the demographic, if you are selling to that group, then TikTok is definitely where you need to be. But if you sell craft supplies to ladies over 40, TikTok is probably not for you. I'm just being honest. Okay. I'm not saying hang up on this call because heck, I'm fun to listen to, But also you need to at least understand TikTok next time someone brings it up. And also you will now have, you'll now appear a lot more smart when you do talk to your kids or grandkids. Now, here's the cool part. If you are an advertiser, if you are one, the average user is on TikTok, get this, 52 minutes a day. You know what I mean by average? That's the middle. That means more, half of them are on more than that. 52 minutes a day. This is like the crack cocaine of social media, okay? And so if you're an advertiser, this is what you want. In the marketing world, we call this engagement. In other words, you want their eyeballs on that little screen. And unlike just about any other social media out there, TikTok is grabbing the most eyeballs for the longest period of time. You know, Facebook and Instagram, people don't just sit on there solid. I mean, maybe you do at work because you're bored, but the majority of people don't. They're on it for a few minutes, then they're off. They're on it for a few minutes, and they're off. No. The average TikTok user is on there for 52 minutes, and they will just sit there and watch those videos left and right. And the reason, keep in mind, remember I told you that the maximum length was 1 minute. Now it's up to a 3-minute. You can have a 3-minute TikTok video. Why so short? That's because TikTok is not trying to be YouTube. You see, if there's one thing about the young demographic you need to understand is that everyone, hear me, everyone as they get younger have a shorter and shorter attention span. They want instant gratification right now. Unlike the rest of us, remember, some of us grew up and we grew up on learning to watch TV and sit through the commercials. To watch an hour-long program, we'd sit through commercials, and we were used to watching it for an hour. You follow me? Today's youth aren't about that. They're not about to wait it out. They want instant gratification. And if you can't keep their attention, because keep in mind, there's a lot of competition for their attention. If you can't keep that attention, what? They're going to go the other way. And everyone thinks they all have ADD. Well, they kind of do. But it's because there's so much content competing. I mean, think about it. TV advertisers are having a hard time right now because of what we call the two-screen situation. Everyone watching TV today, and don't lie to me, everyone, including you, watching TV today typically have a second screen sitting in their hand or right next to them. That way, when a commercial comes on, you're on your phone. You're looking at something else. In today's youth, if you watch them watch TV, you will discover that they are on their phone while they're watching TV, not just during the commercials like you and I. You got to realize that their attention is being competed for. And so a short video that gets to the point. Remember what I've always said about YouTube? The shorter the video, the better. Same with TikTok. You know, I tell you that if you're going to make a YouTube video, keep it less than 5 minutes, even though you can go for an hour. You're going, well, Eric, this YouTube video is an hour long. I know, right? But the point is, I know the age and the demographic of the people watching my videos. So if you're trying to reach that young demographic, just understand they have short attention spans, and don't just judge them for it. Don't put a value against that. Don't say it's bad. Just accept it, because there's nothing you can do to change it. Society evolves, okay? And this is one of those evolutions, and you may not think it's a good thing, but the point is, if you are advertising, if you are promoting, if you are marketing, you better just get dang used to it, because that's just the way it is. And here's one of the most important things. I'm going to have a whole bunch of screens on how to go viral on TikTok in a minute, but I'm just here to tell you the most important thing. These kids are deciding whether to watch the whole TikTok video within 5 seconds. They start watching it, and if they don't see something that grabs them right away, they're on to the next video, because there's never going to be an end to them. They can always go to another one. And if in the first, get this, 5 seconds, they are bored, or it doesn't get their attention, it doesn't make them want to watch, they're out. Okay. I'll get off my soapbox and let's move on. Okay, you got to have content that works. If you're going to do TikTok, you got to have content. Now, what do I mean by content? In the case of TikTok, we're talking about video. Really, content can be a lot of things. Content can be text, content can be audio, it can be a podcast, it can be a blog. But in the case of TikTok, content, in other words, what you're talking about, a video, is the key. You got to have content. It's not a matter of just putting any video out there. And don't you dare, if you have a business that has done TV commercials, don't you dare just take one of your TV commercials, throw it on TikTok and think you're succeeding. No, you are losing, because TV commercials are not designed. Kids don't want to be advertised to. Heck, you don't want to be advertised to. You got to have content. Now, what kind of content works? Now, some of y'all are going to disagree with me on this, but I'm just being honest with you. They've done studies on what TikTok videos get watched. Now, when TikTok first came out, it was all about lip syncing. You could play almost any song, and I mean paid songs, and the artist would actually get paid a little, and it would list the artist up there. I mean, you could lip sync to a Linda Ronstadt song, a Lady Gaga song, a rapper, anything. And that's what young people were using it for when it first came out. And people loved watching, watching other people lip sync and dance. And here's the deal. Beautiful people get watched more than ugly people. And I know that sounds like I'm judging. People, welcome to marketing. Why do you think TV commercials have beautiful people in them? Okay. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's marketing. So if you're not going to be beautiful, you got to be funny. And like I said, I'm just stating the truth when it comes to marketing and promotion. Now, another thing that works very well on TikTok is animals doing silly things. It doesn't have to be you. It doesn't have to be a video of you doing anything. It can be animals. And trust me, some of the biggest TikToks out there are animals. I mean, everyone likes watching puppies. Everyone likes watching kittens or weird animals doing silly things. I mean, trust me, when you get TikTok, when you turn it on, you're going to see the highest views many times on animals. Also, children being children, babies saying dumb stuff. And believe it or not, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you some of the highest viewed children videos are babies cussing. I know that sounds crazy, but it could just be babies saying dumb things too, or doing dumb things, or attacking their siblings, or playing with a puppy. Even you can combine two things. It can also be epic fails, and you've all seen these on Facebook, where someone is attempting to do some crazy stunt and it goes horribly wrong. Those are extremely popular, and we call those epic fails. The epic fail video is very, 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 very popular. Destruction. Anytime you destroy something, and the bigger, the better. People love watching things blow up, watch things get destroyed, watch things. I mean, some of my favorite videos I like watching is when someone builds like a sculpture out of matches. You light a match. They build a sculpture out of thousands of matches, and then they set it on fire. I could watch that all day. You're like going, oh, you're an arsonist. No, I'm just saying it's just fascinating. Or sometimes people will they'll put a firecracker in a cantaloupe and light it, and you just want to see what happens. And they'll use a slow motion camera, and you'll see that thing just explode. People love watching things get destroyed. Some of y'all are going to laugh when I tell you this, but yeah, and these are not the videos I like at all. Ugh, I swear. But gross things. You'll see lots of videos of gross things. And the reason people like some of this is because they like sending it to their friends and sharing it to their friends to gross them out, almost like a prank. I can't watch these, and when I see one of these come up, I skip it. I just can't do it. I cannot do it. It's not my thing. But I'm just being honest. And one of the biggest accounts out there is owned by who? Dr. Pimple Popper. And yes, she actually has a TV show on cable TV. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But as a marketer, I'm just telling you, it works. This is kind of probably where I fit into TikTok, okay, is in how-tos. If you have a cool how-to that you can show people really quick, how to do something cool, how to cook something really neat, how to fix something really easily, how to, how to dress better, how to, do something makeup wise to your face, those work out very well. Very, 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 very well. These are some of the main content that works. Now, like I said, I'm getting ready to show you how to go viral. And there's a whole bunch of tips on that, but I need you to understand the videos that do the best typically have one or multiple of what I just listed here. How to gain followers. Now, before I show you this, I want to show you, well, yeah, I'll show you some of the TikToks. Okay, so hold on. And doing this, and I know you may not be able to see this very well. If you really want to see what's going on, all you have to really do is go to TikTok.com. You don't have to download the app yet. You can kind of look at TikTok on, on the web if you want, and just kind of look. And so you'll notice that on this particular one, and thank goodness it's not something that's scary. And I won't listen to the sound, but there's music under this. You'll notice that it's something really odd, like they're in front of a carnival ride and they're dancing, and it's just fascinating. You don't see it every day. Over here, it shows you how many people have loved it, 335,000. It's got over 2,000 comments and 1,021 people have shared it. There's other ones. I'm gonna skip that one. See, it's so dangerous to do this on a live presentation. And then it's just some people just doing funny stuff. And you can just scroll down and see some of it's just weird. And you're watching it because you don't understand it. And you just watch it. Like, I think this is a fail, or kids doing something dumb. And some of it is just like, I guess he's in a chopper. I don't know. And some people, you see what I'm saying? It's just a whole bunch of different stuff. Like, here's a dog in a stroller at the Halloween store, the reaction. And some people like that. And that's pretty funny. And I'm about to probably come into something that's going to scare the heck out of you, so I won't go too much into it. But, oh, here's a good animal one. Cat playing with a duck. Hope it doesn't eat it. But that's my point. This one's been watched 366 or loved 366,000 times. Oh, here's one of them flying squirrels. Look at this one. Okay. This one has been loved 14 million times. 14 million. Okay. That's serious. So let me go back to the presentation and let's get back to it. But I want you to understand, if you really want to figure out TikTok, you don't have to go download the app. You really don't. You can just get on your computer, go to TikTok.com, and it'll just start showing you, even without logging in or creating an account. You can kind of just see what's out there. Eventually, TikTok will kind of learn what you like and kind of focus on that. So if you're into animals, or kids or something like that, then it'll focus on those things. But that kind of gives you an idea on what's popular. So how do you gain followers in TikTok? The key is to be consistent. Okay. This is one of the main things people get in trouble with, even on YouTube, is they try to do stuff outside their expertise. It'd be like me trying to go out and do, throw the football around. Not my thing. Okay. I'm marketing. I'm promotion, I'm social media. Stay in your area. Okay. So be consistent. If you try to do everything, no one's going to like you. You're going to have an audience who like you for what they like you for. Ask for followers. I know that sounds obvious, but ask for followers. Ask people to follow you. Okay. That way you show up in their FYP page, and that's The For You page. I know that's what TikTok calls it. Whenever you first go into TikTok, the For You page is kind of videos that they want you to see, videos that they think you'll be interested in. It's called the FYP, or the For You page. When you ask your followers, you're going to start showing up in there. And you can ask for them at the end of the video. Just say, hey, follow me for more. Always do that in whatever call to action you do. And by the way, you need to do that on YouTube. You need to do that on whatever you're on. Ask people to follow you. You'd be surprised how many more followers you'll get just by asking people to. You're going to entertain or educate. Can I just say those are your only two options? If you're going to make a video, you're either going to entertain or you're going to educate. You're going to educate. Okay. And by the way, agitating people is a form of entertainment. I know some, and we'll get to this in a minute, but there's some TikTok users who are hated, and they focus on that, being hated. And that's actually a form of entertainment. So entertainment doesn't have to be make me laugh. Entertainment simply means elicit an emotion of some sort. Make me cry, make me laugh, make me love, make me hate. It's something that elicits an emotion. So entertain or educate. I'm probably more on the educate. I try to put in a little entertainment as part of that, to help keep people's attention, but educate's pretty much where I fall. Encourage sharing. Sharing is when they share their video to people who follow them. Okay. So people who follow, so if you are a TikTok users and people follow you, when you share a video, all your users will see it on their FYP page. And so you really want people to share it. Now, TikTok will share your stuff automatically. And to be honest, the more popular it is, the more TikTok will share it. And that's kind of an interesting thing about TikTok. But encourage sharing. Tell people to share it. Tell people to follow you. Reply to comments. This is key. Reply to your comments. Not every comment, but reply to a lot of them. Let people know that you're interacting. By the way, this goes for Facebook as well. If you're not doing well on Facebook, if you have a business and you put it out on Facebook and you're not even getting comments, you're not doing it right. Because the sole purpose of Facebook for your business is to get comments. Comments is where you interact, and comments is how you get new customers. So you want to know whether you're doing good on Facebook? Y'all are saying, oh, Eric, this is about TikTok. I'm just telling you, you want to know whether you're doing good on Facebook, you count the number of comments you get for your post. Okay? It ain't just a one-way megaphone for you to blast your specials and discounts. The same goes for TikTok. You really want lots of comments, because TikTok actually watches how long people interact with you. And it'll start sharing you big time if it sees a lot of people interacting. Now, how does the paid advertising work? In other words, yes, you could probably do something organic on TikTok and hope that you go viral, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But they also have paid advertising. Now, keep in mind, I am a big fan of paid advertising. I'm a big fan of paid advertising on Facebook. I'm a big fan of paid advertising on Instagram. In other words, you drop in a dime on some ads to initially get things going. And it doesn't cost as much as you think. Now in TikTok, it's called an in-feed video ad. And it shows up in people's feeds, kind of like a normal video. Now, I'll be honest, these things need to be short. So the way you do it is you go create an account. You just go to tiktok.com/business and it will guide you through it. The first thing you're going to do is create a campaign. And when you do, you're going to choose what kind of campaign to do, because there are different kinds. One of them is called an awareness campaign. And by the way, Facebook kind of works the same. So if you've always wanted to know about paid advertising, listen up. An awareness campaign is where we're going after reach. Think of it as, I just want people to know my name. I want people to know who we are. I want a little seed planted in their mind of my company. Because remember, what have I always taught you? The most important thing for you is to be top of mind awareness with your potential customers. In other words, when they think of whatever it is you do, when they think of your industry, your company name or your name needs to be at the top of their mind. It's kind of like pizza. When you think, oh, I want pizza tonight, you immediately think of a pizza place. That pizza place occupies what we call top of mind awareness. So an awareness campaign is where you're just trying to remind people over and over and over who you are. And these are the cheapest kind of campaigns you can do. And they're very easy because basically you're just kind of putting that thought into their head. You're not asking for any clicks. You're not asking for anything else. You're just, hey, here's who we are. Another kind of campaign is called the consideration campaign. Now, the consideration campaign, the way you're going to measure success is by a click. In other words, you want to send them to your website. You want to send them maybe even to your TikTok page. You want to send them to a landing page. You want to send them to another social media page. You want to send them somewhere. You want them to follow a link, and maybe that link is to a YouTube video. But the point is, you want them to make a decision to click. That's called a consideration campaign. The third kind is called a conversions campaign. And this is where you're actually measuring some sort of activity on your website for the most part. In other words, did they actually purchase something? Did they sign up for my newsletter? Did they actually, it's not just a click, but did they actually do something? Okay. And this is kind of the most expensive, but it's also the most valuable. Keep in mind, when you look at this list, it goes from least valuable to most valuable. So therefore, the least expensive to the most expensive. So let's keep going. You're going to create an ad group. Once you choose the kind of campaign you're going to do, and by the way, this kind of applies to Facebook as well. So everything you're hearing me talk about how to do paid advertising for TikTok kind of works for Facebook as well. You're going to create an ad group and you're going to decide on the placement. In other words, who's going to see this? Who are going to see these ads? It doesn't just send it out to everybody. And the way you're going to have a choice here is it's either automated or customized. Now, if you choose automatic, then what TikTok will do is it will look at the content of your ad as best as it can. It'll look at the music in your ad. It'll look at any text in your ad. It'll even do voice recognition if you're talking in your ad and try to use that, whatever you're talking about, to send it to the right people. Now, that can be easy, and it's probably the easiest way to go with your first ad. Or you can choose customized. And that's right. When I said automated, when I said it looks at the music you choose, it'll find people who like that same kind of music. It's crazy what it can do. Anyway, customized is where you get to pick the audience. And it's kind of like Facebook, where you get to say, I want this to go to people between the ages of 16 and 20. I want it to go to primarily males or primarily females. I want it to go to people in high school. I want it to go to people who like rap music. I want it to go to people who like animals. I want it to go, you see what I'm saying? You could even say hamsters, and you can really narrow it down. And what TikTok will do is it will take your ads and show it to those people. So if you sell animal feed, if you sell like hamster cages, then yeah, you can pretty much limit it to people who are fascinated with hamsters and send it to them. So you don't want it to just go into everybody, because that's kind of like a billboard. It's what we call the shotgun approach. You shoot everyone hoping that someone was interested. That's not how we do things in an online world. We want to maximize the group that we're sending this to. And we want to focus in, laser focus in on exactly who we're targeting here. Now, there are two ways to pay. You can pay by CPM, which, and I'm going to tell you what CPM means, but only because you're only going to use it to impress people at parties, okay? CPM means cost per mile, or this will even confuse you more, cost per million, but it doesn't mean million. It means like 1,000, Okay. I know that's so weird. It kind of goes back. I'm not going to give you the history, but this is for views. And so you can either pay for 1,000 views. That's kind of what we're talking about here. So just remember, CPM is 1,000 views. In other words, they guarantee that you're going to pay X amount for 1,000 people seeing your ad. Okay. That it showed up in their feed, 1,000 people saw it. They didn't click on nothing. And they may have watched 3 seconds of it and went past it. But it's 1,000 views. It's kind of like a targeted billboard. The next one is pay-per-click. Okay, a cost per click. And this is done on bidding. So if you only want to pay for clicks, actually people who clicked on whatever it is you had in your ad, to either go to your website, go to a video, go to something else. They clicked on something, and that's your goal. Keep in mind, you're only paying if they click, but that cost is going to be a little higher. You're saying, how high? Well, it depends. With bidding, if you're both going after hamsters, you know, then whoever's willing to pay the most, their ads are going to show up first. So the average for the cost per 1,000 is $1.82. In other words, it can go up or down depending on how popular the keywords are you're going after or how big your audience is. But on average, you're going to pay just $1.82 to be seen by 1,000 people. Okay, that's no clicks. That's just being seen. Or if you're going after clicks, people who actually clicked and went to your website, the average, but that's going to really jump around based on how popular the keyword is. Because remember, whoever's willing to pay the most per click is going to get the click. You know, I tell people all the time in Google, which does pay-per-click, the most expensive click I ever saw was $400 a click. You're going, well, I would never. Guess what it was for? It was for a very specific brand of yacht. And yes, they would happily pay $400 a click at a chance to sell a multi-million-dollar yacht. And you're saying, well, Eric, I would never pay for a click. Yes, you would. I mean, if I came to you and I said, hey, I've got someone who's interested in what you sell, and I will introduce them to you for $1. And would you give me $1? If I told you, yes, they're looking for what you sell, I can't guarantee you'll make the sale, but they are looking for what you sell. I will introduce them to you, and it's up to you to sell, but I will introduce them to you if you give me $1. Would you give me $1? Yes, you would. That's what a cost per click is, because the only people who are going to see it are the people that would be interested in what you're doing. So don't poo-poo the cost per click and say you would never do it. Yes, you would. And you can set a daily spending cap, like, hey, TikTok, at max, I want to spend $10 a day, $5 a day, $30 a day. And once you hit that, all your ads drop until the next day. So don't worry, you're not going to go through money like it's water. So here's what you've been waiting for: how to go viral. I've got a few slides on this, so listen up. Rule number 1, start with a bang. Remember I told you earlier, you've only got a few seconds. You've only got a few seconds, people. They're going to watch the first few seconds of your video, and if you don't grab their attention, they're going to go somewhere else. So you better make it, give me a tease. Make it something like, huh, what's going to happen? Or, whoa, makes you want to keep watching, right? Start off with a bang. Start off with something that makes them go, huh, what am I looking at? Don't start off boring. Okay, this isn't a movie. You don't have time for that. Within the first few seconds, I'd better be seeing something that makes me want to stay. Second, pick a good song. TikTok's going to have music. Okay, so pick a song that is going to it's going to connect with whatever it is you're showing. If you're showing an animal, then make it a cute song. You know, if you're I don't know, pick a song. Also think about your audience and what kind of music they like. Also go out and look at what music is trending right now. What is the popular music that is out there, and use those kind of songs. Okay, picking the right song is key. Now, even with no followers, even if you have no followers, here's how TikTok works. When you create a video on TikTok, even if you have no followers, what TikTok does is it starts showing your video in some people's FYP, their For You page. It just starts showing. And here's what it does. It watches. And if those people start watching your video, if those people just watch it, then it's going to show it to more people. Now I just got a chat and it says, my kid just walked by and said, oh, mom, people on TikTok like to support small businesses, especially my age group. She is 19 and she agrees with the 5-second thing. See, listen to me, people. I'm not lying here. Okay. I'm going to be direct. I'm going to be straight talking here with you about, good question, Adrian. Good point. So what TikTok does, like I said, is it's going to start showing your video to a few people. It's going to pick those people. It's going to look at the music you chose, and it's going to try to find people who maybe like the same kind of music. It's going to show it. And if those people either share it, if those people love it, if those people watch more than a few seconds of it, in other words, the way to think about it is this. If those people watch the majority of your video, so let's say you do a 10-second video. If they watch 8 seconds of it, and enough people watch 8 seconds of your 10-second video, TikTok's going to send it to more people. And as long as people keep watching the majority of it, more than half of the length of your video, then it's going to keep, and that's how you go viral. Trust me, you will know within an hour whether you have gone viral or not. That's why I said, you got to start with a bang. So that is one of the big things right there. That is how TikTok decides if you're going to go viral or not. That is how TikTok decides whether it's just going to show up on other people's pages. And a lot of people have figured this out. And if you watch some TikTok videos, you will discover they've discovered this secret as well. Okay. If they watch it, TikTok continues, and it just rinse, repeat, and it just continues to show it in other people's FYP. Okay. Now, like I said, since TikTok measures the total watch time, and that really is the secret. That is the secret. TikTok looks at the total watch time of your videos. You need to keep your videos as short as possible. Because if you do a 3-minute long video, but people only watch 30 seconds, that doesn't count really. If for a 3-minute video, people have to watch 1.5 minutes for TikTok to even consider it interesting. So the shorter your video, the less time people have to watch it for TikTok to think that it's a good video. Okay, so that's why I'm telling you, shorter is better. And once you get famous, once you get viral, then you can start doing longer videos. But in the beginning, keep them short, keep them easy. Also, add your own audio. Don't just go in and have a song behind everything. Talk a little, turn the song down. In TikTok, you can do that when you record music. You can turn the music down and record your own voice talking to people. Okay. Also, if it can hear your words, TikTok takes your words, turns them into text, and can automatically use that for targeting. Now, don't get all creeped out about that. It's actually helpful because that way, if you talk about cats, TikTok goes, oh, this is about cats. Let's send this to people who are interested in what? Cats. Okay. So add your own audio because it helps TikTok to understand who to send it to. Don't just do songs. Always also remember that stories beat dancing. Remember I told you in the beginning, it was all about just people lip syncing, pretty people lip syncing or silly people doing silly things lip syncing. You know what I'm saying? Not anymore. People would rather watch a story, something happening, a short story, mind you, but a story. So it's not just about you out there dancing and lip syncing, okay? Stories beat dancing. Also, kind of what I'd like to do, or what I do, consider short tips and training. And I mean short, not an hour-long video like this. Remember, everyone on TikTok has attention deficit disorder, okay? And that means they ain't gonna stick around for very long. So if you have a tip or a training that takes an hour to do, then I would break that up into like 60 1-minute trainings. You follow me? Give me a tip. Give me something bite-sized. Break them down. I know some people who do an Excel little tip for Excel, Microsoft Excel, and it will be the shortest thing in the world. It might be 30 seconds and they're in, they're out, they're done. I'm telling you, just break it up. If it takes you more than a minute to explain, break it up or get faster, get to the point, people. What else? Here's a big one. Put text over your video, okay? To emphasize and to reach those watching silently. You got to remember, a lot of people on social media, and you're going to laugh when I tell you this, but a lot of people who are on social media are at work and shouldn't be on social media. They should be working. So what they do is they watch some stuff silently. They turn the volume down. When you put text on top of a video, it actually allows them to watch it without listening to it. This works especially well on YouTube. I've seen it. I've seen it work in a lot of places. Let's see. You need to be careful of what music you use. You could get shadow banned. Now, keep in mind on YouTube, using audio like music by bands is not as easy to do, and sometimes they will take you down. Not so much on TikTok. On TikTok, it'll tell you almost immediately whether you can use music or not, and you'll learn what you can and cannot use. It's not as hard as it is on YouTube TV, so that's a very good point. You got to be careful with the music, but it will tell you pretty darn quick whether you can use music. A lot of people will put their own custom music up, or they will find copyright free music and not even worry about it. Okay, so put text over the video to emphasize the reach and for those who are watching silently. Also, use a strong call to action, CTAs. In the marketing world, we call these CTAs. And I don't care what you're doing on what social media platform, you better have a CTA at the end, a call to action. In other words, based on what I just showed you, here's what I want you to do. I mean, think about it. Even on this video that you're watching right now, at the very end, there is a CTA. There is a call to action. And what is it? It's to call your wonderful counselors at the New Mexico SBDC. That is the CTA. That is the whole point. Okay, so your videos need to have a CTA, and it can be anything from visit my website to, go check out my other videos, to follow me, to share this. There needs to be a CTA telling them to do something. Okay, always have that. Don't just show a funny video and then that's it. Always, 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 always. And you're going to need to reserve a few seconds at the end for that CTA, even if it's simply to follow you or to share something. Also, add random details to your video and don't explain them. I know this sounds weird, but if you watch some videos, you'll see them do something really weird. Like one time I saw someone and they were talking about their hamster, but they were sitting there eating a bagel and putting cream cheese on it. And I couldn't read what kind of cream cheese it was. And it was all about hamsters. And they never mentioned the bagel. They never mentioned the cream cheese. But if you looked at their comments, it was all about, oh, that bagel looks so good. What kind is that? What kind of cream cheese did you use? Is it safe to feed a hamster? And it was crazy. Add some random stuff that you just don't explain. You need to make this video so visually fascinating. Have some weird something in the background. Have a weird poster. Have someone random walk by and people are wondering, wait, who was that? They didn't acknowledge it. Hold an animal in your hand while you talk and the animal's all doing stuff. They will talk about the animal even if you never mention the animal. So add a random detail. And because really when you generate comments, TikTok notices that people are in your comments. They're staying on your video. And when you get people to comment, TikTok notices that. And mysteries generate comments. Mysteries, like I said, it's kind of the same as random details, but Don't explain things. Do something weird and random and don't explain it. Don't even talk about it. Maybe jump in a lake or, do something that makes no sense. Maybe you have a red light on all the time. No one knows why you do that. Just do something. Create mysteries because it'll also make people watch it again. Here's another one. Embrace your haters. There's a lot of TikTok people out there who are hated. And yet they have huge followings of haters and they focus on that. They might act like prima donnas. They might act like the most spoiled children in the world, but people follow them. So own it, because what's happening is people are going in their comments and hating on them and trolling them. But they understand that is also a form of popularity. That is also a form of entertainment. When you give someone a target to hate on, they're making money off of this. I'm telling you, if you can handle that, if your ego can handle being hated, you can, talk about something controversial. Now be careful, this is dangerous, but because you can cross a line. But I'm saying there's a lot of people who know how to walk that line and do it well. Make a video rewatchable. In other words, sometimes put up text that goes by too fast, which will make them rewatch it to read what they said so they can pause it. Telling you, the longer people stay on your video, I know that sounds like a trick, but it has so much going on that they want to rewatch it. Experiment and measure. Try different things and go back and look at how much reach you got, how much engagement you got, how many comments people left, and then try to do the same thing again. Experiment, always experiment. And here's the big one. Watch other people's videos. People, I can't tell you enough. You want to know how people get popular videos? Watch the popular videos. And look back through my points I just made and say, oh yeah, check box that, check box that, they did that, they did this. You're going to see the tips I just gave you are pretty much why those videos are popular. Whew. I told you there was there's a lot of content in this one, people. And maybe you've decided that you don't want to do TikTok. Maybe you've decided you do. But here's the deal. Now listen up. Whether you do TikTok or not for your business, a lot of what you just heard me suggest also works on other social media platforms. So think about that. Leslie?
Oh my gosh, that was a lot of content. And I was being very attentive today because a lot of times I go through and I'm like, I want to learn right now. I want to do it. So I have not, I was paying attention. Let's check our questions. Thanks for the information. You always get so much of that. I want to remind everyone that we have Eric for a couple more webinars coming up. And the great thing is all this stuff kind of, it's this, I would say, wheel with all these spokes coming out of it. So what he does, if you have questions coming in, bring him to the next session. That way, if it's on TikTok, on any social media, marketing, everything, it all works together and he's there for you guys. We also have it on YouTube and I chatted over the link. Eric, you always get this. Thank you, Eric. Always good information. And I can, grateful, so enlightening, great overview, Eric. Thank you. I want to remind everyone to visit nmsbbc.org. We're here with the no cost confidential counseling for every phase of your business. We also, again, like I said, we have it on YouTube. Do you think it will be likely that the parents will take over TikTok as well?
Not soon. But I will tell you this, the people who are loving TikTok now, as they get older, they're going to stay with TikTok. And so eventually they will be parents and they'll probably be on TikTok, but their kids will probably be on whatever comes next. It's just the way the world works.
So this is a good way to get started and at least get your feet wet, because especially if your audience and your customers and stuff are changing, that way it's all about changing with them and making sure you're targeting the right people. So remember that. Last words of wisdom before we pop off.
People, you just need to try it. You just need to try it. I'm telling you, go get a TikTok account if you want and just look at it. Just watch it because it will help you understand at least what your kids are looking at. And it will help you understand how to reach that generation because it's showing you what they're actually interested in. So whether you ever post or not, at least start watching it. And I think you will get addicted as well. It is fascinating.
It is fascinating and great advice. All right, guys, that's it for this webinar. We will see you up the next time. You guys have a great rest of your week. Bye, everybody.